Today I'm doing a installation of RalliTEK control arms. Here's a quick little comparison. There's the old arm and there's the new arm. That is quite a bit longer. This is the old adjuster nut that broke. How's it going, guys? I just wanted to interrupt this intro here and do a quick little disclaimer. Obviously I'm replacing control arms in this video. Now they're RalliTEK control arms. If you watch my previous video, you'll see I had a breakdown and the control arms broke. Now this video is not sponsored, but the control arms have been supplied to me by RalliTEK under warranty. So I purchased the older version of these arms originally, and they were great. However, they did have some weak points in them, and since I purchased those, RalliTEK has redesigned the arm a few times actually, and now they've offered to replace them under warranty for me. They did come with a lifetime warranty, but it's obviously still amazing when a company stands behind their product. Basically, they've redesigned the arms, improved them, and obviously the research and development that goes into that is huge. But I'm just amazed and really happy with the customer service and the after-sales service that RalliTEK have provided me. I'd say it's second to none, and I'm only talking from the experience that I've had. I can't talk for anyone else, but for me it's been amazing. So I'd really recommend them if you're wanting a company that stands behind their products and looks after their customers. So anyway, I'll let the video roll. Cheers for checking in. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a installation of RalliTEK control arms. Now, I'm pretty excited. These are brand new. I actually already had RalliTEK control arms in my car, but they were an old version that had a bit of a design fault in them. So if you've seen my last video, they actually let go while I was on the track. But these have been redesigned and fixed the problem. I'll go into a little bit more detail later of what's changed to improve these. So I'm very excited to get these in and have confidence back in my car on the track. So anyway, we've got a pair of these to go in. Very excited. New installation hardware and Johnny joints. And yeah, just in the box they come with this little bit of paperwork which has a little QR code you can scan on it. So you can get the instructions, which is pretty cool, and just a little sticker. But anyway, we'll get these installed in the car. Now what I'm doing here, as I'm taking these bolts off, I take the most inner one off first and work my way out. And what I do is I put them on the ground in order, out of the way, so that I know which order they go back in. There will be some new hardware that'll go in these. This is already one that RalliTEK supplied last time, but yeah, the bottom of the strut has a new bolt and nut because the control arms are thicker than the standard ones, so the standard bolt doesn't work, but the rest of these bolts are the standard ones. But we'll keep carrying on. So I'm taking the I'm taking this sway bar link off because it doesn't actually want to go up through the top of the arm. It wants to go through the bottom of the arm because these are installed upside down, which is an option with these RalliTEK arms. They want to slide in from this side, which is actually the top or the bottom, depending which way you want to look at it, but it means to get them off, the control arms, I have to remove the sway bar link because it doesn't want to come out the top or the bottom, whichever way you look at it, because these are upside down. But not too big a deal. All right. See, it comes out easily when you put it through that way. Anyway, that's what happens if you install them upside down. Looks like I might be due for new sway bar bushes in the back here too. I just put new ones in the front, so probably about due for new ones in the back. Anyway, that's not what we're doing today. We're putting in new control arms, so let's do that. Okay, so here's a quick little comparison. There's the old arm and there's the new arm. Now, if you look closely, that is quite a bit longer. If you line them up like that, you can see that extra amount of length that they have now. And what that means is this hardware that's spanning this gap can screw down closer together, and the threaded section of this johnny joint can go further into the hollow section of this adjusting bolt, and as a combined threaded rod and hollow bolt, they go through into this threaded section of the arm together, and it's a solid unit. Whereas with these ones, the johnny joint only just reaches to the edge of the control arm, and so this threaded section is actually hollow while it goes through the control arm, and so it's a weak point. But when they're threaded together and spanning a shorter gap, they actually will be a solid unit in there and creating a much stronger link. So that should fix the problem that I had. And other than that, these are the only control arm that I know of that allows for you to install them upside down, creating extra clearance as opposed to the factory position where they dip down. And as well as creating extra clearance, it also bumps the back up of the car a little bit, which is awesome for someone like me running a 2-inch lift. Basically just props the back of the car up a bit. If you're running a bigger lift, it might not be an option to do that. You might have to install them in a standard way. But anyway, I'll open up this hardware here, and not only have they got new hardware, new adjusting hardware in comparison to the old arm, they were just welded inside. Yeah, these new ones have through welds. They've got stainless steel adjusting hardware now. So yeah, these are, I think, the 4th iteration of these arms that RalliTEK have made. So they've obviously put a lot of research and development into them, and this should be a really good product now. And the first arms I was really happy with. Just, it was a little bit unfortunate that the adjusting bolt was spanning that gap a little bit too big, and they failed twice on me. But with these new ones, I reckon they'll be good. So I've just assembled one arm, and I put the little greasing nipple at the top here, so when it's under the car, because I've installed them upside down, this is protected. It's not hanging down where it can get knocked by a rock. And also, when I am putting this hardware in, I put it all the way in so it's completely compacted, and then adjust it from there. So this is pushing the arm out and the johnny joint out the equal amount. So you know that there's a good little spread of the hardware there. Anyway, that's one done. I'll do the next one. Okay, so as you're reinstalling these, you just want to do the hardware up by hand or very loosely, and then once you've finished installing it all, put the car back down where it sits at ride height off the jack stands, so sitting on its wheels, and then you want to do up all this hardware so that it's done up where the car's sitting at its natural position. Puts less pressure on all the components that way. And this is the new hardware that came with these. Came with these control arms to accommodate for the thicker control arm that it needs to pass through. So this is what they used to come with, and I've obviously put the new ones in to go with the new arms. Now, might actually grab a screwdriver. Alright, so you have to use a bit of force to get this up because you're compressing the spring. If it's too hard to do by hand, you can put a jack under here, but using a screwdriver just to align the bushing, you can slide it in a lot easier that way. There we go. Got him in. Again, we'll just do them up loosely and we'll tighten that all back up when it's on the ground. But as I was talking about before, there's the grease nipple up on top here. So I make sure that I install it so the grease nipple's up here, tucked away, and you can still access it. It's just not going to get knocked off here if you hit a rock. So anyway, that's installed. Oh, that's nice. So with the old control arms, I wasn't able to put them in from the top, but with these ones, no dramas. How good's that? And a little thing that I find easy to undo and do up sway bar links is I use a ratcheting Allen key piece and a ring spanner. So you can put the ring spanner on the nut and you just have to put the put the Allen key in there and go, go, go. Now I'm just going to fast forward this because it makes a bit of noise. Sweet. All right, one side done. And let's get into it again. So like I was talking about before, if it's too hard to get this back up, I think this might have been bent slightly. So if it's too hard to get that back, you can just use a jack. So I'll bring mine in. And a good thing to do is bring it in on the angle across the car. So once you get it into position, you can slide it back and forth a little bit if need be to line up the bush, line up the holes. All right. That one was a little more challenging, but with the jack and putting a screwdriver in to sort of navigate the bolt in, it's not too bad. Now I've got one side in. Just line up this second side with the screwdriver. And again, when you're adjusting these control arms, you shouldn't need to really adjust them. It should just be a set once and forget, but I'll get a wheel align it to make sure it's all in spec. We're all good now. So this this little sensor, I'll move the camera. See you in a sec. So what I was talking about before is this bracket that supports the sensor for this headlight leveling sensor got twisted and is not sitting level anymore. So I'm going to see if I can tweak it without breaking it off the subframe because it's welded on there. So it'd be good to have my headlights sitting where they should be. Oh yeah, that works. I think it needs a little bit more. That looks a lot better. I think it still needs just a smidgen more. I don't want to break this though, so alright, that's looking a lot better. I'll see how the headlights are sitting. You can adjust the headlights to compensate, but this wasn't sitting in a good position and this sensor has been damaged. It was already damaged from a stick poking up and bashing it, but this damaged it some more, but it's looking good there. So I reckon we'll reinstall that and see how it goes. And that's another thing to note with these control arms. There is these holes, these little provisions for this to mount in, whether you have them installed, whether you have that control arms installed upside down or up the other way. So that's nice that RalliTEK thought of that, so you can still keep the headlight sensor. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is put this sway bar link back in, and then we'll put the wheels back on, lower the car back down, and adjust all these up to torque spec, and then we're done. By the way, a ratchet handle is not meant for hammering, but when you have a good quality all metal handle, it does the job. Okay, once again, I'm just doing these up loosely, even though I'm using the rattle gun. There's a gap there still. And I've got the rattle gun set on super low torque setting. It's got adjustable torque, so I'll do them up to spec once I lower the car back down. But we're done with the install now. We're done with the install, so back on with the wheels, lower it down, move it around to get it settled, and tighten everything up to spec, and then we're good to go. Off to get an alignment probably tomorrow or the next day. But happy days, all installed and looking good, looking fresh. Okay, so even though I used the rattle gun to do these, I only did them up to the lowest torque setting on the rattle gun. And now I'm going to use my torque wrench to do them up to spec. You'll see when I'm using this, it only has to move a very small amount to get it up to spec, because my torque, my impact wrench has a really good setting for these lug nuts. It's really close to what they're spec'd at. So when I actually do them up with this, it's already very close. Sometimes it doesn't need to do it at all, so it might be really close to spec if a tiny bit over, but not like way over. But sometimes they just move a little bit, so it's obviously really close to what they need, which is perfect. I just double check them with this. So yeah, happy with that. Okay, so I'm doing these up with a torque wrench. I don't usually just do it by feel, but because I've got the settings from RalliTEK's website, I thought I'd be responsible and do it up to spec. So these hub bolts, strut bolts and subframe bolts all get done up to 89 foot-pounds, which is about 121 Newton meters, which is what I use. And then the sway bar link is, I just wrote it down on paper here, the sway bar link is 34 foot-pounds, which is about 46 Newton meters. So I'll do all these three first. Okay guys, so the video is almost coming to a wrap. Basically, I have a little bonus bit of footage I'm going to put at the end, which is just going over the old control arms and what exactly broke on them, and a little bit more detail in how that happened. But yeah, very happy with these new control arms. Pretty excited to get back out on track and have the confidence of control arms that should hold up to some abuse. They will be a lot stronger than the previous model and probably a lot stronger than factory arms, and you get the added bonus of extra clearance, extra strength, and a little bit of extra lift. So looking forward to getting back out on the tracks with these. Now that's pretty much it. So if you want to see that little bit of bonus footage, stick around. This is the old control arm. For some reason it's not focusing. Hello? Oh jeez. One last quick little thing. I've just noticed at this point in the video that my camera was set to manual focus, and I've just changed it. You'll see the image a lot sharper now. I'm not sure when exactly that happened in the video, but it is slightly blurry in some shots, so I thought I'd just leave it out because it wasn't that noticeable. And yeah, basically it's fixed now, so it's autofocus from here on out, but I'm not sure how I did that. Next time it won't happen. Okay, so this is the old control arm. Now this is the adjusting hardware and johnny joint, and you can see that the amount that adjusting hardware screws into the johnny joint is actually hollow on the inside. So that's where the weakness was created. So this is where I've broken it twice, right on that edge where that adjusting nut comes up to. And yeah, with the new ones, it's a much shorter gap that they have to span, so the johnny joint screws further into this adjusting nut, and then as a solid unit with that on here more, they both go into the control arm and overlap, so there's no hollow section right where it's meeting. But anyway, that's the old setup. That's where it broke. This is the old adjuster nut that broke, and that bit snaps off inside the control arm because there's nothing inside the johnny joint. Only comes right to this little edge here, and that's where that meets up with the control arm. Just happens to be the same spot that it meets up with the control arm, so it is weak, but the new ones don't have that issue. Now I had to make this little piece of hardware. I got this machine down, so basically when this broke off, this was inside here. That was screwed all the way in flush, and there was no real way of getting it out, but with this you can screw it in and this will meet up with just that threaded section and pull it out of the arm. Obviously it's coming out easily now, but when it was stuck in there, there was no way of getting it out. And so yeah, got that little bit of hardware made up, and basically that will meet up with that section and pull it out. Okay guys, that is it. So pretty long video, but I wanted to go in depth with this one. If you made it this far, thank you very much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Cheers.